What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sideline Thoughts. Like always, I'm Gio Galvez, and today David Reyes is joining us again, once again. For today's episode, he told me he had a few things to get off his mind about the topic that we're going to be talking about. So, he asked if he could come say it on here, and I said sure. So, like you guys see in the title, today's episode is the Copa America's group standings. Obviously, it just ended. That, like I do every episode, is at the end of each round for the Copas and the Euros. So group stage ended. We already have our the picture of the quarterfinals, and we're gonna see who's gonna play who. And at the end, we're gonna give our predictions for who's gonna win the next round. But as of right now, like always, we start off going right into it. First off, David, how you been? How you feel coming back?
Happy. I'm good, Gio. I'm happy to be back with you. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you again. And to all the viewers and listeners of this podcast, the Sunlight Thoughts podcast. And I'm excited to talk about soccer since it's this summer of soccer, the Eurocopa, and now right now the Copa America here in the US. A lot of drama happened recently, and I want to get my I want to talk to you about it.
All right, so yeah, summer soccer for right now to 2 years later, where the World Cup will be back here in the United States. And so let's just get right into it. Let's get started. Looking at it, you guys see it on screen here. We have the group stages. Start off with Group A. Argentina ends up winning first place with that group of 5 points. Canada ends up getting second. Oh, sorry, 5 points. Sorry, I read that while I was reading the goals. Argentina won first in this group with 9 points. Canada ends up getting second with 4 points. Chile with 2 points, and Peru with one. Now, my predictions, as I said, I have it set up on my phone. So I set my predictions here. Let me pull them up again real quick. I
Sure, you
think this was one of the few. I've definitely got a lot more right on my Euro one, compared to my Copa America one. I got a lot more wrong here. But point is, I think Group A was the only group that I got everything right when it came to the predicting the standings.
you actually
Yeah, here
predicted
we go.
Canada in second?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, so I had
Wow.
exactly Argentina one, Canada two, Chile three, and Peru fourth. Just looking at the, so yeah, just looking at, I mean, Argentina gets the 3 wins straight. Canada lost the first game to Argentina, which, David, in my opinion, although the score shows that Canada couldn't score or anything, watching that game, one, Canada gave Argentina some competition. Watching that game, you see Canada competing. Argentina wasn't just pushing them around, beating them very easily. No, Canada shows that they're not just some easy team that could be there. They're competitive. They're there to fight. They're there to earn themselves second place. And it wasn't just an easy pushover for Canada. And that's what made the game very entertaining, because Canada had a couple of chances to score. They had their opportunities to get to the attack. And even Argentina, Di Maria missed a chance one on one with the keeper. So Argentina, yeah, you could argue they could have had 3 goals. Canada could have had one or two, even 3 goals, if they really were able to finish, but they couldn't. But it was a great game, that one alone, and I think it set a standard at least for that group. Um, and to me, that showed that Canada, at least that game showed that Canada was earning of the second place, and competing with Chile for it. And like I said, Canada loses the first game to Argentina, but then wins the second game, and then ties the last game with Chile. So wins the game against Peru. Chile, tying the first game with Peru, losing the next one to Argentina, and then tying the last one with Canada, like I said, and then Peru just getting a tie, and 2 losses right after that. So only coming up with 1 point. Really, Peru, I didn't think was going to show up as much compared to a lot of the other South American teams. I didn't think they were going to step up as much, and compete at the next level, even compared to North American teams. Chile, I thought they could have been the one to give Canada
Oh yeah, I thought there would be
some,
better.
yeah, not
Yeah.
not just better, just a little more competition, a little more fight. And we saw Canada tied with them at the end of it, but in my opinion, I think Canada had the slight edge over them, but Chile, I think Chile could also put themselves in that level, and they didn't exactly, where it was in a convincing manner. You get me? Like, it was very
Yeah,
convincing,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, Chile is that number two in the group. To me, it wasn't. And I think a lot of people did think there was, but like I said in my previous episode of the Copa America, this isn't the Chile team that we think it is. It's not the same. Yeah, they have Alexis Sanchez, but doesn't mean this is the 2016, 2016 Copa America with Chile was I believe they won champions. So it's like this is not the same Chile team, no matter how strong or dominant they are. So to
Mhm.
me, that's why I had Canada right above, and Canada just one representing the North American teams because now they're the only team to make it to the next round.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
Dave,
well,
what's your
actually, no,
oh
so let's go back to. I mean, this is the same Chile. They didn't qualify to the World Cup, so I mean, it's been a while. They've been not been doing well. Um, they have a lot of different coaches now. They have I forgot his name, Ricardo Gallarga. I think that's the coach's name. He coached Peru when Peru qualified to the last World Cup in the 2018 World Cup. So, and also think he's not able to connect with the team as past coaches have done, or has he as he did with Peru when he qualified to the World Cup. Yeah. But Canada carrying the CONCACAF on their shoulders, including Panama, we'll talk about later. But Canada with the big surprise in this group especially. Because if you had asked me before this tournament started, I would put Chile and Argentina in the top two. Canada maybe three or fourth, but
Canada
Argentina.
fourth compared to Peru? I no Canada can even though Canada isn't as great, I think they had a more solidified, solid team compared to Peru. They're able to play more. They're a lot quicker. They're able to develop and go to the attack. And even if it's not Alfonso Davis, yeah, Jonathan David. Uh, like scoring in this tournament. He's the attack in front. So it's to me in this perspective, Canada has already a stable one, while Peru can become a stable one if they're able to get more, not just younger, but just more talented players to fill in those holes.
But also, it's been a good process. Canada has had this coach for a while. I mean, they have an actual project compared to the U.S. and Mexico, which we'll talk about later. But Canada they're trying to grow, and this is the result. There's a surprise in this tournament. They're carrying the CONCACAF, and and they could. Who know, I mean, you could dream of it, but you could possibly make the semifinals, and you never know. You never know with soccer.
Yeah. Well, moving on to Group B of the tournament, we
Okay.
have we have one a surprise, at least a
Yeah,
surprise
yeah,
for
yeah.
me. Venezuela getting first with 9 points, getting all three wins. Ecuador getting second with fourth. Mexico getting third, just missing out of the next round with
Open
four
goal.
points as well. And Jamaica getting 0 points, not even being able to get a win. Now, in this group, I only got one prediction right, and that was the Jamaica getting fourth. The other three I got wrong on the order. I had Ecuador first because hearing the noise coming from them, seeing how they were able to compete lately with a lot of their international games and how much better they've been able to be. They have been with the talent that they have. A couple players going to Europe now, so it's the way it's been showing for the Ecuadorian team compared to the past times. To me, Ecuador was going to get first in this.
Well, they could have. Remember that game against Venezuela? They got a red
Yeah,
card. I
yeah.
think that's what screwed them over.
That is what screwed them over. That was essentially the game that screwed them over. Was that first game, the 2-1 loss? I thought Ecuador was still a better team.
Yeah.
Now let me say this: my second place, I had Mexico. Now it wasn't a convincing second place for me, and I said in the last episode because Mexico hasn't been playing out great. Now, David, before you get into what you're gonna say, let me
No, no, I
finish
got
on
to
this.
wait.
Um, I had Mexico as second because I thought they were gonna be able just to do just enough to get that second place spot, which looking at the points wise, they did just enough to tie second place, right?
Yeah.
But it's the goal differentials and things like it's essentially the goal differentials. That's what ruined it. I had Venezuela getting third because although they have been on the rise again with the international games, much like Ecuador, to me they weren't going to be able to do just enough to pass Mexico. I thought Mexico had the slight edge over it. And like I said, it shows it here on it. It shows the what gave what gave pretty much, well, sorry, not Venezuela. It shows them against Ecuador, but Venezuela, they have 5 goals in favor. That's more of the slight edge that I'm talking about. But I thought Mexico had that in the beginning over Venezuela, where Mexico would have passed over a favor of 1 or 2 goals, or possibly even points. I thought maybe Mexico would be able to come up with some kind of win, maybe against Venezuela, or a tie or win. That's really what I saw when I was putting this prediction. After seeing this group, that's not what the case was. We see Venezuela, like we said, get first, Ecuador second, Mexico third. For my opinion, David, I'll let you go right after this about what I'm saying for each one. One, very disappointing. Jamaica could even get 1 point. A
Yeah.
Jamaica team that we always seen is in competition with the CONCACAF, and how they're always giving Mexico problem. They're always, like I said before, a classic of Mexico versus Jamaica is always a classic game, no matter which round it is. It's always some competitiveness. Jamaica, USA, Jamaica versus Costa Rica. Jamaica's always in that conversation for the CONCACAF, and here it's like those almost no point in them going where you could have put another team that maybe would have given some competition. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it was the groupings. Maybe Jamaica would have gotten any points against Bolivia. We see with 0 points against Costa Rica with 0 points. Maybe it was just the group that they put in. It could be, doesn't it? Venezuela surprised me completely, getting all 3 wins in that. And like you said, David, the Ecuador Venezuela games will really change it, and that's really what changed the 1 and 2. It's still, in my opinion, Ecuador was the best team in the group. Even though Venezuela got that win, I think Ecuador, playing wise and the way they're able to play with the team and attack and keep pushing, I think Ecuador is the better team. Venezuela, though, has proven that they're a great team, underdog team, to go through to set themselves and establish themselves, is what I mean, to establish themselves in the group stage in South America and say, hey, we're not just a pushover team anymore. We actually have a competitive team to now go to the quarterfinals. So that's what they're showing to themselves. And Mexico, very much the disappointment, and that I don't I don't think anyone should have been surprised about. And the truth is, on my end of seeing this, is like you're gonna hear everyone talking about it, disappointment, this and that, this and that, and it's true. But the truth is, you look back at the last just 5 friendly games before the Copa America, and they had what, 1 win. The rest were ties or loss.
Yeah.
So
I,
why, as Mexico fans, are people mad, disappointed in Mexico's performance, where they haven't shown you this winning performance, and then they come here and they lose? That's where I would understand disappointment is. You're up here, and in this important tournament, you drop down. Okay, that's a disappointment. But they were never up here. They were here, and they just stayed
for
flat.
years. No, for years. I think they're going down for years now. Ever since
But
the
I just mean
yeah.
recently in
Okay. Okay.
this
Okay.
scenario, where you could see, okay, these are our games going into the Copa America,
Okay.
right? Going into the Copa America, you stayed at a flat line. So why are you surprised? Why are you disappointed when this is the product that they were giving you? So yeah, you
I,
could argue, oh, you missed it by 1 goal, right? The 1 goal in favor, right, for Ecuador. But Ecuador was playing like a much better team than Mexico was the whole tournament. So it's more than just that. But David, I'll let you take it from Mexico.
okay. Well, just do me a favor. Ask me that question again. The why.
Why is there disappointment?
Yes.
So
Well,
then
no. Why are people disappointed?
so
Ask me why.
why are people disappointed in Mexico in their performance in the Copa America, knowing how they've been performing?
Because Mexican fans are blind, ignorant, and they don't know. They don't watch the Mexico games at all, and they have a short memory. This has been going on for years, Gio. Ever since that 7-0 with Chile, we already know that it's already like downhill.
What, Dave, before you go on, I just want to
Yes,
say
sir.
I don't agree with you with the Mexico fans don't watch the games. They watch the games, but I agree with you with everything else. They have short mind, forget things quickly. They're always there. But that's the one thing about Mexico fans. They're always there to watch the game, no matter how bad they're doing. But continue.
Actually, I don't remember which channel did this, but They were interviewing fans outside the stadium before the game. They're asking them, "Oh, who's going to play?" A lot of people didn't know who are the players. I'm not saying all of them. There are a lot of people that do watch, the Mexican League that do know the players that were playing that were called up for this tournament, but there are others that don't know. They were just there to have fun
Yeah.
for the game. Um, but anyways, but this has been going on for years. Ever since the 7-0 Chile, we knew there was something I saw that like Mexico is not the same anymore. Then we saw the Confederations Cup, same thing. The World Cup started off great with the win against Germany and South Korea, but then remember they got destroyed by Sweden 4-0, then eliminated by Brazil at the round of 16. The 2022 World Cup didn't make it out of the group stage. This is going on for years. Liga MX, there's no relegation or promotion anymore. There's a lot more foreign players. There's no opportunity for new young players to come out of the to play to debut in the clubs. And there's also a lot less Mexican coaches in the Mexican league. There's more Mexican coaches in Central America than in Mexico.
Mhm.
So this is a lot of process. This is I should say I don't know how to try to help me up here, but firing Jimmy Lozano won't fix everything, but it'll be a small band-aid for this team. This is what I think. But there's a whole lot of there's a can of worms that that's already rotten and it's gonna take years to fix. Um, the women's national team didn't qualify for the World Cup. Mexico didn't qualify for the Olympics. The U23 didn't qualify for the World Cup either. Um, a lot of bad decisions made throughout the years coming out of participating with the Copa Libertadores. You remember Mexico wasn't also participating in Copa America until now. They were just invited because
They
they're being the
decide to do
host of the
all of the U.S., Canada. Well, Coca pretty much said, "Hey, can we join? We'll do all of the actual America, the continent of
yeah
America." But yeah, continue.
yeah. That's why they were only invited here. But remember before they were invited every year until they stopped participating. And and this is the result of all the bad decisions that the Mexican Federation has made. The owners of the clubs in Liga MX, it's all business. And Brendan Zamora, our friend, he posted on Instagram that the post that the the Mexican national team posted on Instagram thanking the fans for after the elimination.
Mhm.
Brendan said, "You're an embarrassment for Mexican fans." I responded to that. I'm saying, no, Brandon, the fans should be embarrassed of themselves for consuming this product that for years has been bad. And why will the federation change if people are still selling out stadiums?
Yeah,
If the business is doing well, very well, why would they change? Yeah.
no, you're right. But
Yes.
it's you're not the only one saying this on the topic of that Jimmy Lozano needs to be fired. That's the obvious thing. It's like for the U.S., Greg Berhalter has to be fired. With the U.S.'s golden age, you let someone like Greg Berhalter ruin your chances to even going anywhere as far in any type of tournament because of him not being able to put the best starting lineup, not being able to make the best subs, or not even having any playing style. But that's the U.S. That's the point. And Mexico, it's it's more than just Jimmy Lozano. It's the players that you guys are taking. That a lot of the
Personally, this
issue,
team is not that bad though, Gio. I mean,
but they're
yeah, they're
not the
not as
greatest.
yeah. Do think they could have made it out of at least out of the group stage.
I
There's some
think you
players like
could have, but you could argue though, watching the performance of Venezuela and Ecuador, maybe Mexico couldn't make it out.
even the Jamaica game. They weren't that well either.
They were. Mexico was not playing good
The
at all.
defender made the goal. Arteaga, the
Yeah,
defender.
that wasn't a great game. So now that's not necessarily on the coach. Yes, it's on the coach to put in the right players, to put in the right playing system. But at the same time, these players need to execute the playing style. They need to be able to score the goals. They have to be able to finish the job. And not all these players are doing it. So you could say, oh, these players aren't that bad, but they're not playing great either. The point of this is that, yes, Jimmy Lozano has to go. He's part of the problem. But the other part is the players that Mexico hasn't been taking nor producing the best players like they used to in their history. Now, the number of players that they sent to Europe, one, they used to have a good haul of players, Mexican players playing in Europe. Now they don't. Most of them are old, so now they're slowly coming back to Mexico or they're coming back to the United States, playing around
There's
here.
just one. There's just one.
Because,
Edson Alvarez.
yes, Edson
And I don't know.
Alvarez, he's their best player. He's,
Mhm.
in my opinion, he's the best player and he's the defender. Right?
I don't
No,
know
and
if that counts.
Santi Jimenez plays in
Oh yeah,
Europe.
too. Sorry, yeah, but
He plays in Europe. How is that gonna push your team forward to the next round? You get me? It's not gonna work. Mexico needs to change everything. You need to get your best young players in the MX League. You need to send them out to Europe. It doesn't matter if they're the first team of they're on the like the Premier League, the Serie A, La Liga. It doesn't matter if they're in La Liga two, they're the Serie B, the Championship. Like it doesn't matter the League two. It doesn't matter at what level. Get them out there, get them developed, get them produced, get them changing their build so they're able to play at a higher level. Send them to Borussia Dortmund to develop better. Send them to Ajax. Send them to PSV. Send them over there to produce to develop even. Send them to lower teams in the Premier League. Look at the USA. Some of the players are in Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest is a top six club in the Premier League, but they're still there in the Premier League competing against the best players there. That's what Mexico has to do. That's what the US has been doing. And that's why a lot of Mexico fans are always getting mad. Oh, the US is not better than Mexico. The US is not this and that. But look at how they're pushing the future. Almost 10 out of their 11 starting school, their starting 11 are European players, as in they play in Europe. There's always one that's probably in the MLS or something. How can you as a Mexico fan say that the US isn't getting better when they literally have the talent and the players to be better and Mexico isn't doing that? Just
the
because
U.S. has
Mexico doesn't have a well, Mexico does have a coach that doesn't know how to do it, but I would think Mexico's coach is slightly more competent than the US's coach, maybe. But that's the thing, David. It starts from everything, the federation. You're right. Firing Jimmy Lozano is just a band-aid of the entire federation being the whole problem. It's never going to get cleaned out. That's the truth, David. No matter if you and I are talking about it, no matter how many other podcasts and how many other people giving their opinion about it, it's never going to be done until, like you said, it starts off with people not going to the games.
yeah.
It starts off with that, but even then, how long is that going to take? Because it's corrupt, and the federation is not going to change. And then and even let's say they don't take out the people in charge of the federation, when are those people going to make the like the demand that your young star players are sent to Europe? Because really they're kept in Mexico, passed around, or they even bought back. Even some players that were in Europe are going back to the MX League.
Yeah.
That's not how it's going to work. Truthfully, it's not. So right now, it's only on a downfall for Mexico. And from this point, you really can't be disappointed in Mexico not going anywhere, not getting as far in anything because they're not making any changes to improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear from other people. Yeah, from us, we're just another voice saying it, but this is us saying it, and it's the point of it is that change starts from the top, but it's
Oh yeah.
always just going to be firing the coaches.
Firing coaches and put another president of the federation. You know, it's the same mindset, just a different person. Yeah, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe this elimination helps sends a message to fans to stop filling up the stadiums on the friendlies. But who knows? People, and also another disappointment on the fans. There's a lot of fights I've been seeing in videos. Yeah, it's a shame that people are acting up like that.
Yeah,
It's that some of us don't even want to go to games because
it's it's just, and not even just the fans, it's the players too. Like you see when they start losing, they start getting in fights, and I'm watching it. I'm like, why? Why are you getting in fights with the other team when you guys are tired or losing? Why are you doing that? You should be getting mad within yourselves because you guys put yourselves in this situation. You guys have put yourself in the situation where you guys are losing or you guys are tied and unable to score goals, can't even score a penalty. You guys are in these scenarios, and it's like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So
Mm.
that's what it is.
Yeah, that's Mexico, Gio. We'll see what happens in the future. Um, I know.
Yeah. So moving on to Group C, we talked too much about the Mexico and the stuff. Moving on to Group C, we have
Uruguay,
that's a,
Uruguay,
that's another
Uruguay,
group. I didn't get everything correct, but I got some of it correct. I actually only got one correct at that grouping,
Uruguay, Uruguay.
and I can't believe my decision on one of the groups. So on my grouping, I got the correct one. It was Uruguay game first. I think that
Don't
was
tell me
the
you put
easiest.
Bolivia in second place. Come on, Gio.
I did not. I put USA in second place. I put USA in second place, and then I put Bolivia in third. I don't know why.
What?
I thought they might have done better than
Ah,
Panama, looking on how
ah,
the other ones. So I got it
I'm more fit
completely wrong.
Panama.
But Uruguay being first, of course, Uruguay has looked so good playing. They look so
They were
established
dirty
on
in that game, though. They were dirty against the US. They were playing
against US.
rough.
Yeah, they are.
They were.
They weren't the cleanest. Look, the ref didn't look unbiased at all. The ref definitely looked biased towards Uruguay. That goal that Uruguay scored shouldn't have counted. That looked offside.
Yeah, it was.
Like I'm not even saying like I'm a big USA fan or anything, but that goal was offside.
And do you
And
remember the other play where the ref gave the advantage, even though he was going to give the yellow
yeah,
card?
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it was
should
like,
have been dead ball right there,
yeah,
set up and go. Now you can't just call it and then as you're gonna give a yellow and then go and you say play on.
yeah,
You can't do that. You can't do it. You have to if you called it and you're gonna give a yellow, that means the ball has to be stopped. If you're not gonna give a yellow, okay, then they play. Okay, then go play on a stop ball, but that's not how it works. And even in that game, do you see Tyler Adams got a yellow card for nothing? Like he gave Tyler Adams the foul when it should have been a foul for the US and he gave it against them. And it's like, what? Like that game wasn't a great referee game. I have nothing against Uruguay. I think, and a lot of people, not a lot of people, sorry. I heard a couple people have said that Uruguay is the dark horse to win the Copa America. And at first, I didn't really believe it. But now watching them play, watching how the defenses are, the offenses are, the midfield is just being able to control the ball, playing with nice intensity of keeping the pace going. Uruguay really might be the dark horse to win it.
oh yeah,
There's
I
two
do see
dark
Argentina.
horses. There's two dark horses. Uruguy
Yes,
is one of them,
okay. No, yeah, I
right?
do see the final Argentina Uruguay, but now quarterfinals. Oh, let's see how this is a big test for Uruguay though, with against Brazil. Now,
Yeah, it's a big test. But point is, I think Uruguay can compete with them now. Prior to my previous prediction episode, a lot has my mind has changed a lot. Uruguay is looking great, phenomenal on the way to playing. No question. Should it have 9 points? No. 7. It should have been a tie against the US. To really see that goal shouldn't have happened. So yeah, I mean that's the thing. Panama surprised me a bit. They got the 2-1 win against the US. You could argue the US. I mean, not just argue, but you could put part of the US losing the game to Panama because of the red card by Timmy Weah, where he hit the dude in the back of the head. That was a red card. Shouldn't have done that. Because the US only having 10 players for the majority of the game until like the last 3 minutes where Panama got a red card. It was too late by then. Panama was up 2-1. They got to win. I expected more from the US, truthfully. I had them in second because I expected at least 6 points from the US. I expected way better. Um, the only game I expected them to lose was the Uruguay game, but I thought they were going to beat Panama. Obviously, I thought they were going to smoke Bolivia. USA did not perform at the level, and all USA fans know the whole problem is Greg Berhalter. You have your golden age of players, like I said, 10 out of your starting 11 play for Europe. Maybe some bench players had some some experience in Europe, or even are playing in Europe, you can't not be losing to Panama, cannot be making it out of the group stages with this great team that you guys have offensively and in the midfield. Defense, sure, you could argue need some work on. Personally, I don't think Matt Turner is the best goalie. I'm pretty sure there's probably other better goalies out there. I don't like him as a keeper, but point saying he does play in Europe. He knows he has the training, the ability to play. USA did not step up, and that's all Greg Berhalter's fault because the team was able to score. The team has been able to create on their own and great goals that are opening. Um, Christian Pulisic had a phenomenal tournament campaign. What more can you really ask for? He really carried this team, and in my opinion, I expected more from Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams. Not that they didn't do a lot because they did play at a high level, but in my opinion, Pulisic kind of set himself at a higher level than those two did, along with Gio Reyna and Bologan and Timmy Weah. But at the end of it, they couldn't make it because of points, because of how the situation against Panama and all that. So USA disappointment, but their issue, David, literally is just the band-aid of putting a better coach.
Yeah, for them it's easier.
Yeah, that's all their issue is getting a better coach. There's been a couple memes saying that Jurgen Klopp should be the next coach for USA. I think that'd be funny and be pretty cool to see a year
That would be
how he would do. I wouldn't say he'd be the best coach, but it'd be cool to see
it will help a lot.
what he brings. Yeah, yeah, it would. So definitely that. Panama played a lot better. I don't know why I had them fourth. I really don't know. I probably got just left Bolivia and Panama. I thought they were just gonna be the bottom ones. Panama fought and competed. So no matter, even if USA tied Uruguay, it wouldn't have mattered because Panama beat Bolivia. It was 3-1. So
Even during the game,
that.
right before Panama scored the second goal, when Bolivia tied, Greg
Yeah, tied it. Yeah.
Berhalter told the players that they were 1-1. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see when he told him that, but
No,
I still saw when they
They
tied.
got a camera shot, and they saw him go like this. Then on the press conference, he did say that he told him to score the other game. Then soon right
Yeah,
after,
well,
Uruguay
that shouldn't
scored.
have been mad.
Mhm.
Yeah, that shouldn't have mattered at all. Truthfully, for the US, you should have just been focused
Doing your part and winning the game.
on your part of your game. Yeah, you had to get the win, no matter what. You had to be focused on your game. Who cares? You find out about Panama later because you had no control over the Panama game. You focus on that later. Um, but essentially, the Panama games what sent it the wrong direction for the U.S. That game was what either kept them on the right track or wrong direction. Got the red card. You had to switch out Matt Turner for Ethan Horvath, who wasn't doing too bad except for that second goal, just too quick through his hands in the big down the middle, over his head. So that was essentially it. The U.S. unable to find another way to score. But uh, but yeah, Bolivia, of course, 0 points, nothing really much to say that you would expect from them. Um, Next, Group D, the final group, we have Colombia getting first, Brazil getting second, Costa Rica getting third, and Paraguay getting fourth. Now, on my groupings, I believe I also got this group completely wrong. I got this one wrong. I had Brazil going first, and they definitely did not live up to the expectations.
And you put Costa Rica second, huh?
I put Colombia second, and I don't know why I thought Paraguay was going to be much better, so I put them third and Costa Rica fourth.
Even though Costa Rica's out, they still
4 points.
kept their
That's still good.
yeah.
4 points. That's better than the U.S. That's better. That's exactly the same with Mexico.
And they,
Technically,
and they
Mexico
tied
would have
and they,
gone over because of point of goals.
yeah. But Costa
And
Rica tied Brazil here at SoFi. I mean,
yeah, so
yeah.
that's the point of this was on this group. My points are one. I saw about Colombia beating the previous games before this tournament. They're playing so good. They're playing so great, and I was like, okay, but are they going to be able to do this in the tournament against Brazil? And do that game yesterday? Beautiful game. It was a
Yeah,
great game.
Yeah,
Although it was a tie,
mm,
I will
yeah,
go ahead.
Colombia's in third place of the qualifications right now, and Brazil sixth. So it's a little preview.
Dude, Colombia yesterday that game, although they could have won, they VAR'd it offsides. Their first goal was VAR'd offsides, and it was slightly offsides. Because the game was tight. But what I liked about Colombia, watching Colombia, was one is that they stayed at a constant pace of speed. They were pushing a lot offensively down the wings and down the middle. They weren't afraid to take shots, to send a lot through us, to win back the ball on top. They didn't look too gassed also, like, because they were running a lot. They were keeping a high intensity, and Brazil was able to keep up with the high intensity. So as players, you get dead being running in high intensity back and forth. Of course, there's certain times with Colombia on the defense. That's when they slow the ball down. When the defense had to try and look for open pass or through ball or something. But as soon as that ball hit the wings or down the middle, right there, and they're starting to attack, it was just high intensity. And that's really what I really enjoyed about watching Colombia. Colombia was able to keep that intensity and help on the defense. They're working hard from everyone from the forwards down to the defense, and everything was great for Colombia. And not only that, they showed that Brazil is beatable. They showed that Brazil isn't the powerhouse team that myself and I believe other people thought Brazil would be coming into this. And not only Colombia showed that, Costa Rica showed that. Because, like you said, David, Costa Rica and Brazil tied here at the SoFi Stadium 0-0. Although, yes, a Brazil goal was called offsides and they didn't count. But Brazil shouldn't have to rely to one goal and then win. Brazil, the team that people thought would be so much better, should have been Costa Rica 2-0, maybe 3-1. It shouldn't have been able to tell Costa Rica. Now, that was the image of Costa Rica being better than what I thought myself. I thought they would be. And Costa Rica can compete with teams. They are one of the better teams in the CONCACAF. Still, being able to compete with Mexico, Canada, USA, Panama, and beat all of them. And so that's what that shows. It shows that for Costa Rica. Like I said, Colombia, strong, competitive. They're going to be a great. If they're able to keep this team for the World Cup in 2 years, they're going to go far in the World Cup. I'm not saying win it, but they're going to go far. But for
Right.
Brazil, expectations were high on them. They did not produce to the expectation level as a lot of people are used to seeing Brazil produce to. Like it's Brazil, they play football for fun. They enjoy it. They score lots of goals. Not this time. They struggled. It didn't look good. It doesn't look solid. It doesn't look like Brazil are guaranteed to go to the final of this tournament or to be a dominant team in the World Cup where they had to play teams from Africa, teams from Asia, teams from Europe, or again North America. It's a preview where we could see Brazil either go up back to their level. This is just a slight slump, or they might go lower. I don't think so, but it could be a preview to it.
Possible.
And
We've seen it
and
before.
Paraguay just not good. Yeah,
Mhm.
Paraguay just wasn't good. So, um, David, I said there was two dark horses. I think Colombia is the other dark horse.
Oh, yeah, they're the top three. Yeah,
Uruguay
Colombia
and Colombia.
and Argentina.
Yeah. So David, your thoughts on the group?
Well, as you mentioned, I'm surprised by Costa Rica. I mean, they competed, they played what they got, and they were able to get the result that they wanted. Sadly, it was just by 1 point off, and they were. It's Brazil and Colombia. Colombia is playing very well. Um, but just to Costa Rica, competing, proving to U.S. and Mexico that times have changed. CONCACAF have new big teams now, and yeah. But Brazil, wasn't true that Ronaldinho criticized this team though.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
did. But then it
mhm.
was said that after he said he was saying it just to get the players mad and for them to take as motivation to get better, to play better and stuff like that.
Okay, no, I didn't know about that part, but it didn't work that
Yeah,
well. But, mhm.
yeah, that same day, like after he criticized them and stuff, like hours later, I believe it was the same day, just a couple hours later, or the next day. No, it's the same day. He said, yeah, I came out where he's like, yeah, no, I said it to, motivate them and hopefully they play better than, the way they've been performing and stuff like that. Um, David, Costa Rica could have almost gotten second. Almost. You know what needed to happen? Brazil needed to lose.
Mhm.
Costa
Yeah, yeah.
Rica needed to win, but Costa Rica needed to win like 6-1 or 7-1 or 6-0, something like that. Yeah, there had to be a big score like that for Costa Rica to get second.
Against Paraguay.
Yeah, against Paraguay, they had to win by that much. So yeah, pretty much that's our opinions on group stages, what we thought really happened, and how things went on. But now looking at it, we have the quarterfinals rounds. We're starting off with Argentina versus Ecuador in Houston, Texas. That's going to be a very great game, a very competitive game. It sucks. Sorry, dying back. It sucks that Ecuador has to be playing Argentina. It really, if Ecuador got that first place, they would be playing Canada. Oh, sorry, they'd be playing Canada. Uh, but no, now they have to play Argentina. David, I'm gonna go Argentina on this one. I think Argentina wins 3-1.
Um, Sadly, you're probably right. I mean, I would obviously root for Ecuador. I mean, I want the underdog to win this, but obviously it's to me Argentina. Yeah, maybe 3-1 or 2-0 around there.
No,
Some
I
more.
think Ecuador's able to score. I think they're gonna be able to score on them, at least a goal. Um, yeah, that pretty much. It's tough because I wanted Ecuador. I wish Ecuador probably would have gone further. The way, like I said, I enjoyed how they've been playing. The next game is gonna be Venezuela versus Canada in Arlington, Texas. David, I've been 50-50 about Canada. Part of me thinks they could pass to the next round because seeing how they played um Argentina, even though they lost 2-0, and the way they were able to compete and keep up with them. Oh, sorry, I'm just looking at this, and they don't have the updated for Panama and Uruguay. But looking at it, part of me thinks Venezuela because of the way they've been able to play. I think Venezuela might get the win, and
Just say
I'm gonna
Canada.
go, I'm gonna
Just say
go
Canada.
two. No, I'm gonna go
Just
two
say
one
Canada.
win Venezuela. 2-1 win Venezuela.
Ah, ah.
I have to 2-1 win.
I'll stick with Canada. I'm put my heart out for the Canadians. Venezuela is obviously looks a bit tougher, but no, let's just stick to Canada.
They've been
Gio.
playing
One
better.
zero. 1-0.
Venezuela's been
1-0.
playing better.
Doesn't matter. They'll defend. I don't know. They play with 5 men in the
You
back.
stick with Canada. I'm doing Venezuela.
Uh, 5 men in the
Venezuela
back.
2-1. 5 minutes back. There's no way you're gonna score with 5 minutes back.
I'll
I
wait till
mean, you could,
penalties.
but that's gonna be hard. So Saturday we have two games. We have Uruguay versus Brazil, which is gonna be arguably
That's the
the game of the quarterfinals. We're gonna really see. To me, whoever makes it out of this game goes to the final. They're going.
during their qualifications back in October. Uruguay did beat Brazil 2-0. Uh, so this is obviously Uruguay is the favorite here. What do you think? 2-0? I think 2-0 should be or 2-1 around there.
It might be 2-1. I'm going Uruguay.
Yeah.
Might be 2-1, but honestly, Uruguay's been able to score more, but they struggle against the U.S. I think 2-1's a fair one. I think 2-1's fair. I was thinking maybe 3-1, 3-2, but I think 2-1 is fair
Mhm.
for them. And then on the other side, you got Colombia versus Panama. That's a no-brainer. I think Colombia takes that win 3-1. Honestly, it might even be 3-0. It truly might 3-0, 3-1 if Panama's able to get a goal, but Colombia's getting that win. Don't no question. So yeah, Dave. Right now, that's just the quarterfinals. Right now, I'll get a separate episode out for the semifinals once we find out at the end of Saturday, so Sunday. Anyways, looking at it, that's what the quarterfinals are. Hopefully, we're right in our predictions. We'll look
But
back
you and
and
me
then
will
see.
agree. You and me agree. Uruguay and Argentina in the final.
Yeah, I was trying to look. I couldn't remember the. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It most likely is gonna be Uruguay, Argentina in the final. I would have said, like I said, the two dark horses would be crazy. It was Colombia, Uruguay, but Uruguay, Brazil, and Colombia are on the same side of the bracket, so that's not gonna happen. But it would have been cool if it was. Would have been very cool. Um, giving Argentina some competition on that side. Yeah, you could say Ecuador is a big competition, Venezuela a bit, but they're nothing compared to Colombia when it comes to the yellow, red, and blue teams. Colombia was there, and it would have been sick to see Colombia on that side. Give Argentina some competition. Who knows if Colombia would have beat them or not? But it's a competition. But yeah, David. Any last thoughts?
Uh, I think I'm good now. We talked about a letter that I had for Mexico out. U.S. This is a bit more simple, as we mentioned, just the head coach. Who would you? Do you have any candidates for head coaches? Just
I haven't thought about it. I
curious.
really haven't. I
Mm,
haven't looked much into it. Thought about it. Um, the Jurgen Klopp one would be cool. Would be funny, like because it starts as a meme, but it became real. It'd be very funny. But it'd be a cool one.
yeah,
The way he was able to change up Liverpool, the way he's able to develop Dortmund and move on. Being an international coach would be cool. Something I think a lot of coaches would like to add to the resume. If I was a coach, I would like to be an international coach. Who knows if he thinks the same way and if he really wants to take a project like the US and knowing what it entails in that the expectations of this US team because of the players they have. And he's not going in knowing that majority have played in Europe. He's played against a few of them, so he's able to incorporate some of his styles of the European way and not have to worry having to teach these players, certain ways because they've never been able to experience playing in Europe. So I think that's something. If they really are talking to him, if he was the idea, if he was a go-to, something that probably he'd be thinking about. But that's just a big if. Someone just threw him out there. That's not. It's not really. He's like the first option or stuff. Not because he can't be. It's just there's no talk to it. There's no official reach out that we know of. So who knows?
I got another name for you. So I was listening to the game, the Uruguay and the U.S. played the last 10 minutes on the radio,
Mhm.
and Andres Cantor he asked former U.S. coach Steve Sampson, "Who would you like to take over?"
Mhm.
He said El Tata Martino.
No, no,
No,
no.
I think he'll be better than than Greg.
Yeah, almost anything is better than Greg. The point is not to get better than Greg. The point is to get a great coach who's able to develop and put and get these players to play at the highest level so they could go to the quarterfinals, they could go to the semifinals of the World Cup, they could win Copa America, they could be competitors in the competitors in the World Cup. That's the point of it, David. You don't want a coach that's just better than this, but he's still trash because, or not trash, but he's still not as good because he can't develop or bring out the best of your star players. You want a coach that knows how to do that, and that's getting a coach who is successful in Europe or a coach that's successful, highly successful in anywhere he's been, and has shown that he's able to coach young players and get the best out of them. You know, Tata Martino, he had his chance in Mexico and things like that. You don't want another thing where if US plays Argentina, he's gonna play the worst US squad starting 11 because he wants Argentina to pass. Whether that's true or not, that was only the hypothetical that a lot of Mexico fans were saying, a lot of people were saying because the way they lost to Argentina in the World Cup and things like that. Whatever, that's just hypothetical. Point is, you don't want that possible scenario to happen again. So what do? You just get a coach that could do you best. So sorry, David. Tata Martino's not it.
No, just a thought. Since I heard on the radio and the former U.S. head coach mentioned him, I'm like, well, he's not bad. He did have success in the MLS with Atlanta United, the first championship before he went to coach for Mexico. So yeah, somewhat of
Yeah,
success. But anyways,
yeah, somewhat. And I see my dog right in the corner. Anyways, all right, guys. Well, this is another episode of Sideline Thoughts. Thanks again for watching the Copa America episode. Of course, the Euros one will be coming out very soon. because that's also coming up. Their quarterfinals ended in a great quarterfinals for majority of the games. But yeah, I'll be getting that episode out soon, getting this one out soon, or as soon as possible, obviously with editing. Uh, but yeah, expecting more NBA stuff is coming up. A lot of trade deadlines and stuff going on. So NFL as well. NFL is coming up. So, hi guys. Thanks again for watching, guys. See you guys next time. I'm Gio Galvez. This is Dave Reyes. See ya.
Peace.